You ever have one of those moments where someone gets so caught up in their own fake sense of authority that they completely forget common sense? Yeah, broken bar. That's exactly what happened the day my neighbor Karen tried to kick my family and friends off my own lake. It all started one warm summer afternoon. The sun shimmered on the water, dragonflies danced above the surface, and laughter echoed across the gentle waves. My family had driven down from all over the state to spend the weekend together. It was supposed to be a peaceful getaway, full of barbecues, fishing, and old memories. We were at my property, a 40 acres of quiet countryside, with a small but beautiful private lake I'd inherited from my late grandfather. He built this place with his own two hands back in the 60s. It was his dream spot, a peaceful, quiet, away from the noise of the city. I grew up spending every summer there, learning to fish, swim, and skip rocks under his watchful eye. After he passed, I promised I'd keep the land in the family, so when I finally retired from my engineering job, I decided to move here permanently. It wasn't part of any fancy neighborhood that just happened to border one. A new housing development, complete with a home, had sprung up right next to my land over the past few years. I didn't mind at first. New neighbors meant more life around. But then came her, Karen, the self-proclaimed president of the HOA, even though no one ever seemed to vote for her. You know the type, a sunglasses even on cloudy days, always walking around with a clipboard, and a permanent scowl on her face like everyone owed her an apology. The first time she approached me, it was about my mailbox. "It's not regulation height," she said. I smiled politely and told her, "That's because it's not part of your regulations. My land isn't under your home." She blinked, confused, then frowned like she'd bitten into a lemon. "Oh, I'll look into that," she huffed. And she did. Every few weeks, she'd find something else to complain about. My fence, my tractor, the unapproved color of my barn. I always responded the same way, "I'm not part of your home." But she couldn't seem to accept that. To her, everything within a 5-mile radius was her domain. Still, I mostly ignored her, until that one weekend. That Saturday morning, we set up chairs, fishing rods, and a small grill by the lake. My niece was teaching her little boy how to cast a line, my brother was marinating chicken, and my friends were setting up a few kayaks. The sound of laughter mixed with the birds and the gentle splash of paddles. It was perfect. Then, out of nowhere, we heard a sharp voice cut through the air. Excuse me, you can't be here." I turned to see Karen marching down the hill in her wide-brimmed hat and floral dress, phone in hand, looking like she was about to shut down an illegal rave. I sighed, already feeling my patience thinning. "Good morning, Karen," I said. She ignored me completely. "This lake is for residents only. You can't bring guests here without prior HOA approval," she barked, pointing at my family like she was scolding children. My brother raised an eyebrow. "Residents, home? What's she talking about?" Karen crossed her arms. "This is community property. You can't just host a party on the lake. We have rules here, and outsiders aren't allowed." I stared at her for a long moment, then smiled. "Karen, this isn't community property. This lake, yeah." "Don't interrupt me," she snapped. "I've lived here 5 years, and I've seen you people using this lake without authorization. I'm calling the whole board and the police right now." That's when my niece started to look nervous. "Uncle Tom, a broken bar, are we in trouble?" I put my arm around her shoulder and said calmly, "No, sweetie, we're not in trouble. Someone else is just confused." Karen already had her phone out, snapping pictures. "Evidence," she muttered. "This is going straight to the HOA attorney." I could have laughed, but I decided to end this once and for all. "Karen," I said, walking over to her, "you see that big oak tree over there?" She frowned. "What about it?" "That's the property line. Everything on this side at the lake, the dock, this land, it's mine. It's private property. My grandfather bought it long before your subdivision even existed." She froze for a moment, her face twitching between disbelief and outrage. "That's a broken bar. That's not possible. The home map shows a..." I pulled out my phone and opened the county property app. "You mean this map?" I held it up so she could see. The parcel was clearly labeled under my name, stretching right up to where she stood. "This land and the lake are 100% private. You've been trespassing, Karen." Her mouth dropped open. The confidence drained from her face faster than water through a sieve. "Well, a broken bar, I'll double-check that," she stammered. "Oh, please do," I said with a polite smile. "But until then, I'd appreciate it if you'd step back off my property. And maybe next time, Try asking before accusing people. Her lips quivered, and for the first time, Karen didn't have a snappy comeback. She turned around and walked back up the hill, still muttering something about checking the bylaws. The moment she disappeared, my brother burst out laughing. "You handled that like a pro, man," I shrugged. She needed a reminder that not everything belongs to the home. Later that evening, as the sun set and the sky turned orange and gold, I sat on the dock watching the ripples shimmer. My niece sat beside me, her small hand resting in mine. "Uncle Tom," she said softly, "why was that lady so mean?" I smiled gently. "Some people like control, sweetheart. It makes them feel safe. But sometimes, when they try to control others, it's because they've lost control somewhere else in their life." She thought about that for a moment, then nodded. "That's kinda sad." "Yeah," I said. "It is, but you know what's not sad? Knowing what's yours and standing up for it calmly, without yelling or fighting." The next morning, I got a letter, not from the HOA, from the county assessor's office. Apparently, Karen had called them, trying to dispute my property lines. The county official kindly attached a note: "Your land boundaries are correct. Please inform your neighbor that harassment or trespassing claims can be filed if this continues." I smiled, folded the letter neatly, and placed it in my desk. I didn't even need to show her. Over the following months, Karen's tone shifted completely. She started waving awkwardly when she saw me. Once, she even brought over some cookies a store-bought, of course, and said, "Sorry about a broken bar, you know, a broken bar, the misunderstanding." I accepted them with a smile. "No hard feelings, Karen." Because the truth is, sometimes standing up for yourself doesn't mean fighting. It means staying calm, grounded, and firm in what you know to be true. You don't have to match someone's chaos with your own. Sometimes silence and confidence are louder than shouting. Today, the lake is still my peaceful escape. My family visits often, and the laughter of my grandkids fills the air just like it did when I was young. The water still glistens, the wind still carries the scent of pine, and every time I look across it, I think of my grandfather Ray and the lesson he taught me. A man's peace is his greatest property. Protect it but never lose it defending it. And so, when Karen tried to take my peace, I didn't fight back with anger. I reminded her and myself that peace, like my leg, was mine to keep. The end.